He's having an issue with his
Welcome everyone
running.
to the Afterglow. Sorry, Marco. Well, welcome everyone to the Afterglow. To the start is near, episode 9. Back to you, Marco. Go ahead.
I was just answering Lena. Samuel is running a virtual Windows on a Linux system, and it's not patching in his microphone, so he can't talk. So he's just been
Oh,
in the chat.
hi, Sam. We are now in the Afterglow, and Alan is in the spotlight.
Anyway, can I request permission, everyone's blessing
Spotlights.
to continue? Yeah, because we're into it hot and heavy. Now, Lena, Alan, were you guys listening in for a while? And if not, no problem. I'm just curious to know how much y'all heard from the previous broadcast.
Climate Geeks Gone Wild.
Okay, good. That's a good starting point. And that's an example of a pod of chi, a pod of collective human intelligence. That's an example of that.
And I think Climate Geeks Gone Wild could be the promo video. You
It
could definitely do something with Climate Geeks Gone Wild. That is so good. All right, that's all I have to say.
No,
I
thank
really,
you. No,
really.
noted.
Bird behind you, Jamin.
Yeah,
Photo bombing you.
yeah. Well, hello there.
I don't know where he went.
And that reminds me of your whoa, I just had a bird at my window too. Weird. Like fly by and almost crash. Crazy. Anyway, um I really like how Jamin, you bring the absurdity that is necessary to the table. Always just the playfulness and the curiosity beyond um and the creativity that is so vital to create a sustainable environment to make these conversations happen.
Thank you, Lena. Well, it's a team effort, and we'd be nowhere near where we are today without Marco. And then it just so happens that the way Marco found us was through an after party. And so it's
Yeah.
like the answer has been just hiding in plain sight right in front of us all these years. And it'll be 4 years pretty soon, 4-year anniversary. So anyway, but better late than never. We figured it out.
I
The
guess that makes me like the ultimate party animal. I came to a party and I haven't left, and it's been 4 years.
No, and he was clean shaven when he got here. He's been so into the conversation, he won't even stop to shave. He hates his beard, but
Um, The only thing, and sorry to be a Debbie Downer, sorry to be a Debbie Downer. I just like when I was hearing you talking, um, the only thing, like if you have 2,000 people, what we're assuming, right? What you're assuming is that all of the people are intrinsically good, right? Whoa, what was that bird? It looked like a dove. Sorry.
a seagull. Anyway, no, we're making no such assumption. It's just that when we if and when we find that someone is not good, not benevolent, not kind, not patient, not gracious, not gentlemanly, not, you know,
Ladylike. Yeah.
ladylike, whatever. And what's the definition? I think some senator said it best, some US senator. I can't give you an exact definition of pornography, but I know it when I see it, right?
So to speak, huh?
Well, and we just got flashed as I was saying that, and anyway, it happened. Anyway, so if someone ain't cool, they're getting booted. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. So will there be, I think, like assigning a person, and I just think security is important. Like I was just giving Marco an example of this is in person, but I was working on this beautiful project at an orphanage, right? And long story short, it turned out that one of the people that we were working with was a criminal and he was laundering money. And I'll leave out details, right? And we all trusted the situation, but then it ended up discrediting a lot of the work that I personally did at the time and almost got us kicked out. So what I'm saying too is when there's big ideas flying around in all these like important conversations, there needs to be a balance between open and closed. And I guess breakout rooms create that. And Zoom has inherent safety measures already installed too. So um, and I don't want to be paranoid, but I want to also protect the protectors, right? Like how do we keep these ideas from getting co-opted by bad people? How do we keep the people from getting, that was my only real thing, like just parties can go wild in crazy directions. I know I was a party girl once. I'm seasoned. But the party is such an important part of the work, having that downtime and is so important. And I feel like I'm an 80-year-old woman being like, children, you need to be careful when you're out there. Come home at 9, 9 p.m. sharp. But yeah, like I said, I just I want the work to sustain, and the idea is to, you know, we need to trust each other, but we also need to be discerning. That's it. That's it. That's my only real like boys be home by 9 p.m. The finger, what am I doing? Why? I got called out on that, how I've been doing that a lot lately, and somebody sent me an email and they're like, Carolina, stop wagging your finger. And I'm like, whoa, like, ah. So, yeah, anyway, gotta control the finger. But yeah, love you guys. You are a brave, brave individual, Jamin. That's all I have to say. I'm muting.
Thank you, Lena. So, it's going to be a bunch of communities gone wild. We talked about climate geeks gone wild, vegans gone wild, and then there's, of course, all these subgroups within each. But I think like the communities are largely going to be built around, I'll just say, the Paul Beckwith types, and some communities will be very, very large and others very, very small. But I think, the Paul Beckwith type is somewhere either in the middle or perhaps logarithmically maybe halfway up the exponential. And but very powerful, extremely powerful because of the caliber and quality of the people who constitute his audience,
I
right?
get it. Yeah.
Now, one of the reasons why the good is going to prevail over the evil is, guess what? All these meetings are going to be recorded, transcribed, broadcast, and therefore audited up the kazoo by the whole community. So if someone with evil intent says, "Hey, everybody, join me in breakout room number 66 if you'd like to help me blow up XYZ with, a stolen, nuclear detonator that I acquired in one of the stands. I forget if it was Uzbekistan, I can't even keep them all straight. Bubba, which one was it? The one with the yellow
Well,
dog, huh? Which one
Huh.
was that? Anyway, so you know, look, they're gonna get raided by the FBI. See, that's why I want the FBI all over this. Is precisely to root out. I mean, but it'll be
that's
obvious to the
actually pretty smart.
but
Like
it'll
that's
but
so
it'll also be obvious to the person hosting the breakout room to just eject this person immediately and report them to Zoom and other higher authorities, right? So anyway, there's lots of solutions that will emerge in the various breakout rooms,
Mhm.
you know,
So you
of
mean we can't background check everybody who comes to the party?
well,
I'm
look,
joking.
here's the thing. I would say in our community, probably not, but there may be some other community called, Parents for a Safe, after party community, and they may hire some private security firm to background check the heck out of everyone. There's a
Nope.
$75 application fee. Hey, if they want to do that, you know what? More power to them. But
That's
that that
that's how
that's
we'll make money for the parties. We'll charge for background. I'm joking. I'm obviously kidding. Um,
no,
no, that's
I
so what
think
I'm
people,
hearing. So what I'm
yeah.
hearing is that the people that are coming that you're targeting. So you have a target audience that's mostly Beckwith's people and then other high level climate and um climate geeks, as we have coined them. And therefore, those communities, the communities that you're merging, are safe to begin with and have a good audience. So there's no need to worry too much about safety. And then if there's any plants or people who aren't good, they'll be obvious and they'll be taken care of because it's a high level community. So therefore, people will know if there's uh an odd man out. Yeah, I totally get it, Shannon. Totally
Oh
hear
my
you.
goodness. And it's so important that Shannon's here because she is a veteran of after parties. Shannon, welcome, sister. So good to see you.
Oh,
Welcome,
good to see
welcome.
you, Jamin. How lovely. And Lena's here, and Jack and James and NSA, and Ellen and Marco. How wonderful.
Hi, Shannon.
That's Marco messing with you. There's two Marcos in the room, and one of them
Oh,
just
he
organized
knows
or created an organization called No Snot Allowed. And so anyway, that's Marco volunteered to be co-president of that after having blown his nose on the screen, but we won't recount that. Okay, passing the feather back.
And we have Milo. Milo,
Hello, hello.
Hey, Milo.
Hi,
he's
Milo.
he's a little unnerved, but yes. And Damon, do you have your little kangaroo? Is
My
he
little baby kangaroo will be with me shortly. That's Gretel. In fact, I probably better get the sling adjusted for that purpose.
his
Um,
little and
yeah,
then Gretel will be here shortly. Our creature kin, our creature brother and sisters are an important part of this journey, right?
yeah, exactly.
But anyway, hi Shannon. And
Good to
Shannon's
see you.
here.
Well, I'm really glad to be here. I have been hitting the ground running every morning, and night before last it was midnight. Last night it was 1 o'clock. And when I'm lying down, it's like I can't shut the brain off. And so I feel like I've been on a marathon for a few days, well, for a while now. And we were talking about meditation the other day, and the value of it being that you get to give your brain a rest. It's like, yeah, if I could just make it shut up for a minute. Yeah, well, I keep trying, and I think that's possibly the first step. What do you got to say, Jack?
I just want to encourage you to keep trying.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, there is an alternative, and that is just to go crazy. And I don't want to go there. I've been there, done that.
If all else fails, one thing that I've been doing, Shannon, do you know lion's breath?
Lion's breath. I've heard of a lot of different ones. I've designed a few of my own. Tell me about lion's breath.
Oh, you don't know lion's breath. So lion's breath is an actual breathing technique. You take a deep breath in and then a deep breath out, and it's you start, and it's when you have anger, it's or any type of pent-up emotion. It's like you start to go to scream, but you just exhale. So I'll kind of and it's
So,
called the lion's breath because you stick out your tongue. So breathe in and then and that
oh,
wasn't a clear one. And you can just practice those breaths and then you yeah, you keep practicing those breaths and then it releases, and it's a fire breath. So it releases the anger, and then so you can do one lion's breath and then a really soft inhale and practice going from the really like crazy out breath to the peaceful, calm in breath. So, and then you keep going until you've released, and it really like helps. So,
wow. Yeah, that would get rid of a lot of the vibration that's
mhm.
inside. It's like it just wants to get out. What I first saw, what first came to me was silent scream, but
Yeah,
that's not it because
no,
it's not a scream, it's a roar. And what I got then was dragon.
yeah.
Mm.
No, eventually, it's an actual lion's breath, but my cats are here. And when I do the actual lion's breath, it kind of freaks them out.
Yeah, well, I can imagine that. Yeah.
So yeah, that's one that really helps me. And also animal movement in general, just like, allow the primal to just like, crawl on the floor, like shake, and allow those primal energies to, when I have trouble or too much anger built up, I move or scream or eviscerate, and it's okay. We need to give ourselves permission to allow that guttural expression.
Shame.
Of course, you
There
don't
we-
even have to tell me what is your commentary on the primal. You
So
are
here it
the
is. Here it is.
climate geek gone wild. So
Here it is. Here it is. Okay. So here's going back to the primal. It's 50,000 years ago, far enough back, I think it is. 50,000 years ago,
mhm.
right? We're all going around doing our, hunting, gathering, doing whatever we're doing. And at the end of the day, what do? We gather around the campfire. What's the first thing that's discussed? Essential orders of business. Hey, we made contact with this other tribe over there, and here was the upshot of that. And you know what? Winter's coming. We're going to have to get ready for the, great migration.
What's for dinner?
Uh, what's for
Yeah.
dinner? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. After all those essentials have been addressed, somebody inevitably breaks out the drum. Somebody breaks out the grog, the ganja. Somebody starts dancing and shaking it up a little bit, and we go into drum roll after party mode.
Amen.
After all the essential business is done, after we've gathered around, the campfire and talked to whatever, and the day's work and everything is done. it's time to party. It's kind of what it makes it all worth it. You know what I mean? If there were no party, it's like, where's the party at the
You
end of the
know,
day?
back in the primal of the thing is
Thank you,
that
Shannon.
quote quote unquote what we call partying now was an ingrained part of their culture. We didn't have to separate partying from the work life, right? So it was that time with family. It was the ritual dance, and campfire was ritual. It was actually, and that's what I feel like needs to bring back the climate geeks gone wild, create a new ritual, right, of the afterglow, of the after party, as the ritual, as the reward for, the gods coming down and being like, you guys did it, you're doing it, and bringing you the afterglow is like the where the gods come down and praise you for the hard work that you're doing, right? Like, that's what I'm envisioning. And whether the climate geeks summon gone wild, summon the gods, I don't know if that's a part of it, but I bet you will.
And I want you guys to have a look at this picture, this gorgeous sacred fire, because if you look at the shape of the fire, does it bring anything to your mind? Would be something similar to what we have been talking about. When I look at it, I see a wolf howling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
You see it now too,
I
Jack.
can see where you could see that. Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can see the flames coming from his mouth. Yeah, I
I
love
don't think I don't think I would have come to that conclusion by myself, but now that you mention it, I can definitely see the power of suggestion here.
Well, I've got that on my desktop, and I've been looking at it for a month or more now, and finally I saw it. It's like, wow, this is powerful. And
And
no wonder.
James has a very parallel image. That's one of James's artworks.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Oh,
I
wow.
love that.
And
Yeah,
not
but
far behind is Marco. And of course, Jack looks like a big bonfire, gone wild. Anyway.
yeah, I'm getting ready to pick up my car. But since you brought up wolves, are you aware that they're trying to destroy the wolf population in the lower 48 states?
That's
I
one
mean,
of
like
so many
they're
problems we
killing
have.
in Montana and Idaho and some of those places, and even Wisconsin. They're killing hundreds of wolves.
So here's the thing. That's one of thousands of reasons why we need Chizzy, right? And precisely what I wanted to provide the context for, especially for Shannon, who just got here, is that the Climate Geeks Gone Wild is kind of a slang name that we just came up with for something very specific, based on the work of another great Canadian, Paul Beckwith, who I'm sure you've come across. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So, his audience, we're basically providing a pathway for his audience to go from being an audience to being a community. And the mechanism is precisely the after party. So let's say that, a week from today, Paul was going to anyway release some really important video onto his YouTube channel, right? Which is how I find out about his content. Well, imagine that on that particular day, a week from today, February 9th, he hosts both a watch party and the beginnings of an after party right here on this Zoom room. So that way we manage it for him. And when he needs to bow out and go to bed, he can do that knowing that the party will rock on. thanks to Marco. He just electronically did a high five to that thought. Yep, Marco will be here, says little Chucky Kitty in tree form. You know,
Sorry.
So we're so that particular community, the Paul Beckwith community, we're using it as kind of a living example because we're in the process of inviting Paul to, work with us on this, and in whatever way he wants. If he wants to do it in his own Zoom room, fine. It's not like we're trying to, pirate his whatever, nothing. No, wherever he wants, but we're offering to do it here because we've done it here successfully for other events. And so we're basically taking this on as a major vector to spawn crucial conversations among people and communities, right? And communities in conversation. And so if we've explored the scenario where a couple thousand people come from Paul Beckwith's community, audience of tens of thousands, a couple thousand show up. Whoa. We talk for a few minutes and then send them all to breakout rooms, 20 each times
Yeah.
100 breakout rooms. Why not? Right.
Wow. But Jamin, I think that's an amazing idea. And I want to just come in on a couple of things. One of them is the fact that the after chat is exactly that. And I coined a phrase the other day that I really liked. It's the squared circle. The circle squared.
Christopher would love you for that. Is that a Canadian thing?
No, what?
Just Christopher says that all the time. How do I square that circle or circle that square?
Well, that is what we do on Zoom. And the after chat, I have called it the next step in the evolution of education, because we have had the one to many for much too long, and the many to many is how we go forward together. And so what you're talking about, the after chat, and there's more, even more than that, Damon. This is very exciting. I came from John Raymer and Ben Bowler and the Unity Earth group, oneworld.earth, talking about next weekend. I'm going to put it in the chat. It's the Awakening Our Sacred Mission Symposium. And it is really spectacular. What they're doing is they're working in real time using the tools of polling and word clouds and other tools in order to get feedback in the now moment, as well as doing afterward questionnaires so you get time for reflective feedback.
Huh.
So they're really, stepping it up. And to be a part of this intentional forward step that humanity is making in this, it's just, I am so thrilled. So I want to invite you to tell your people about this. And I hear the Paul Beckwith thing, and this is beginning on the 9th, I believe, and maybe it's not at the same time. I don't know. Why do we have to do everything on the weekends? Because it's all, us retired people or otherly engaged people who are available throughout the week. I don't know. But thank you so much for giving me this space so I could share that. I welcome questions. If you've got questions, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Have you put that in the chat yet? Because I have to leave and pick up my car here in a few minutes. So I'm going to save the chat. You don't usually send the chats out for this, do you, Jamin? You got to catch them.
Yeah, no, I haven't actually ever thought seriously about sending out the chats. I don't know if that's if it's somewhat of a private channel amongst us, you know, sometimes people might say things that are meant just to be private so that they don't get articulated onto the recorded video. So anyway, let's put that in the parking lot of topics for the moment, and then contemplate it at a later time, because we're hot and heavy on some really good stuff here. Shannon, go ahead.
I do want to say that today's introduction to the Awakening Our Sacred Mission Symposium, that the workings of it and how it's going forward, that recording is going to be on oneworld.earth, and it's worth listening to. There was not a moment of it that wasn't valuable. I was quite impressed with it. And it shows how John is using AI and how these meetings are going to be worked through one thing and another, and it offered these links. So so now you know.
What did you call that?
Awakening Our Sacred Mission Symposium.
And it's in the chat, Jack. So just save the chat and you'll have all the details and links.
Okay, that's the thing that, but I'm talking about the thing that you've already saw.
Okay, let me find that link for you. I think I can. I think I can.
Just like the little train that could, huh?
That's right. That's right.
Hey, Jamin.
Yes, Lena.
I wanted to ask you, so a couple people actually sent me emails asking me questions about Sri Lanka, and I just wanted to propose, yeah, an hour meetup, where I could talk a bit and then take questions and answers about my 3 years there and how the economy was structured. I could, and just Sarvadoya and other organizations. So I just wanted to propose that to you because as someone who knows the land and the people intimately, and I've done everything from travel with a Sri Lankan circus to worked at the Temple of the Tooth translating texts. Yeah, I feel like I have a good scope. And I also wrote, I'll pull up the piece I wrote for New York Times. So yeah, I did one little blurb and yeah, so yeah, you can email me. You have my email. Yeah.
Yes, I do. So I'll email you and just think about kind of we'll follow up. There's a lot of details to follow up, timing and a whole bunch of other details. So
I also
yeah,
have,
so I'll follow up with you.
and I have a Sri Lankan speaker that I would like to link up with as well, so we could make something really beautiful happen. So yeah, let's get in touch about that. I'll mute about it now, but yeah, thanks, Jamin.
Yeah, you're welcome. Heck yeah. And after we do the meeting itself, which could be broadcast, recorded, etc.,
Then we
then
have an
we could
after party.
after party.
Woohoo!
In fact,
And Shannon,
this right here, Shannon, just so you know, this is the after party to the Start Is Near podcast, right? This is called AfterGlow, and it is the after party, the official. There could be multiple after parties. Why not? Hey, after parties all over town. Woo! You know.
Do you like the idea of an official one, though?
Well, here's the thing. I think it's important that it be decentralized. And if it's decentralized, there is no such thing as official. Because everyone who says, hey, I proclaim an after party here, but do they have to ask what? Marco's permission? Jamin's permission? Right?
So I want to show you the oneworld.earth, the place where I'm sending you in order to listen to today's. If
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
I'm disabled.
You're disabled.
Oh, you want a screen share? It's Marco's.
Uh, I will able you. You are
Thank
able.
you.
You are healed.
Thank you so much. That's marvelous. Now I have to find it. Oh my God.
Disabled as in the context of not being able to do something on Zoom. I was like, where did that come from? Do not let the broadcast bot in. Or are we letting him in?
No,
No.
I just stuck him in the waiting room so he doesn't broadcast
Well,
anymore.
what kind of a world do we live in? We have these bots that want to interject on our meetings. Who are these weird creatures? Why do I have the ability to admit them? Am I co-host too? How about we all just become co-hosts?
That's what we do half the time.
All right, let's try this again. Share screen. Got that. I don't know why it's not showing up. This is just to create havoc in my life.
No, it's all you.
Yeah,
You're not a victim. That's what they say you're supposed to think. You're not supposed to think you're a victim. Hard
well,
not
I'm
to.
not a victim. This is just to create havoc in my life, and my life is absolutely full of whitewater, you know.
Ah,
And I'm surfing on the top of it for the most part. Every once in a while, I get a mouthful of water, and which is where I'm kind of feeling that because I can't find my why can't I find it? So if I did that,
And you go when you gotta go.
I look forward to the next time.
All right. Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate you, sister.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye for now. And you see, those are great examples, of really cool meetings that should also have after parties, right? I think on their platforms, they generally do provide, some sort of campfire room that I guess is maybe open 24/7. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But if they don't, then it's yet another opportunity to create an after party. And these are examples of big events that happen every several weeks, or sometimes they last for quite a while. And so what we're talking about is doing that kind of model, but across thousands of communities. Right now, you have thousands of audiences. We want to transform those from being audiences to being communities. There's a big difference. When they're communities, they can talk with each other. They can come to the weekly after party on Friday afternoons, right? Afternoon into evening, right? It's always happy hour. It's always 5 o'clock somewhere or 4:20 somewhere in, the after party. And so, just with that framing that I talked about, with that, going back to the primal 50,000 years ago, it's wired into us to have an after party. After all the day's chores and essential business has been covered, go into party mode. It's who we are. And that's where we can really relax and really connect and share and, really be ourselves. We're no longer bound by so many formalities as we might be in an official meeting with Robert's Rules of Order or whatever, and whatever version of that we had 50,000 years ago. Maybe they just called it common etiquette. I don't know. But, it was definitely part of the culture. So, right now we just have this golden opportunity, because once we make a few of these really successful, even one of these really successful, it's not going to be lost on the others. They're going to want in too. Any questions about after parties?
Mm.
All right. Well, speaking of, I'm just going to pause recording for 2-1. Yeah, we're creating the thing called the after party for basically for every, broadcast, podcast, YouTube video. It could be a white paper. It doesn't have to be a video. It could be a white paper. It could be a blog post. It could be a tweet. Let's just call it an artifact, for crying out loud, right? Whatever the artifact, in whatever form, let it have an after party. A place where people who consume that artifact congregate. Can you imagine if we had that capability when a particular manifesto was published back in the 90s or whatever? I don't even want to mention it while we're recording. Peace. I'm self-censoring. Censorship works. Learn the lesson. Anyway, can you imagine a bunch of people got to have an after party when that manifesto was published by those major newspapers per the agreement? Anything, any artifact can be the basis for an after party. And a watch party could be a joint reading. People take turns reading different sections of it. Maybe they pause for comments and questions, things like that. Et cetera, et cetera. So for every artifact that somebody wants to, host one for, let there be an after party. Why not? I think these after parties are going to go crazy. Like I said, for the Paul Beckwith one, it's not inconceivable that we have a couple thousand people show up who are passionate about cooling the planet. Marco, how cool would that be? 2,000 people who show up saying, I want to be here in this meeting with you all about Paul Beckwith's amazing material, and what do we all do about it? Isn't that kind of like, did I die and go to heaven kind of material? Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, that's about to happen for climate, for veganism, for agriculture, for economics, for politics, for culture, for our new, not creation myth, but co-creation myth. Let's co-create our path forward with Chizzy. And specifically with after parties and any other forms that want to emerge. I'm not saying everything has to be an after party. Heaven forbid. Whatever form you want. It could be a group meditation. It could be, a text conversation on Reddit. Wherever you want to have it, have it. But I think a lot of the most exciting stuff is going to be on Zoom, because we can then be face-to-face and really communicate high bandwidth, right? Anyway, passing the feather. Thank you.
Like, do you know the way you said there, you don't promote the brand, you promote the, what was it? The category or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You promote the category. When you're the leader in an emergent category, and this is an emergent category, right?
Yeah. my point
Go
I'm
ahead.
making, yeah, the point I'm making is, right, you're saying when you're a leader, but when you're a leader, before you get to being a leader, you have to get the category off the ground, is what I'm saying. And that's what we're trying to do. So first of all, people have to be aware of the category. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
what is the category you're talking about and who fits into that category? Because if it's a category of conversations, there's, like, as I said, we know there's not millions, there's loads of other platforms out there for conversation, whether they're on Zoom, face-to-face conversations or text or whatever. But like, my point is like that it sounds like you're trying to do it all in one go here. Like you're trying to be the leader of a category of a category or not. Like, what's the category combine? What does it consist of? So that's not defined. So, but you can't be the leader of a category unless there's others in the category, so you could be ahead of them. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, so what you need to do is define the category. And then all you have to do then is, if you define it in such a way that it's easily explainable to a person to understand what exactly the category is, which is CHSI Chizzy is what you're saying is the category, but people don't know about it. So what I'm saying is it's easy to be the leader of something that nobody else knows about, is what I'm saying. So what you have to do is define the category properly in an easily understood manner, that like as if you were trying to do it in a 3-minute advert. Because you can't go on, like you done the podcast, I don't know earlier on, I'm assuming you started at 8, but it went on until beyond 10. And to be honest with you, when I clicked in, Jim, and by the time I finished, you had started repeating the same thing again twice anyway. So I'm not sure how many times that happened during the podcast, but normal podcasts don't go on more than an hour because you lose people's interest unless it's a really, really, really fucking popular podcast. But when you're trying to build a category of your own that nobody knows about at the start, you're not going to get them enticed by listening to you talk for over 2 hours about something they don't really understand. So I can't really see for any reason why anyone would watch the podcast. And if they do, they're not going to watch next week's one because, you know, it went on too fucking long and it was repetitive and they don't know really what the fuck what you're talking about, because nobody knows what it is, because you're only trying to define it and build it now. So you're getting ahead of yourself, is what I'm saying. Go into podcasts, and in the sense that you're doing too much in the podcast, anyway. It should be an hour, which I thought that's what you agreed on a few weeks ago, and it should be an hour, and keep it at that, because you get what you need to say in quick, simple, and proper, and it's interesting, and it's non-repetitive. You know what I mean? But it does become repetitive and tiring after, or boring to non-viewer or non-person like ourselves who's used to the long conversation. But to others, they're not, so they want it in quick. Like, that's why we have things like 90-second videos now, because people have only a goldfish memory. Like, so anyway, my point is, what I think you need to do here is define the category properly in such a manner that anyone could understand very quickly, in like almost a 3-minute advert. And then when you have that sorted in one kind of like, so that you can actually repeat it whenever you're necessary. What you need to do then is literally like you need to do, well, but for the lack of a better word, like Stephanie was saying, like public relations on that category then. And like, if you're talking about getting people to do jump into like, you need to let people know that there's an after party, or give them the idea of the after party. So you're going to have to go to those people to let them know about it. Not hopefully by chance they'll come across this podcast. Like, for instance, if you looked up Reddit now for it, right? I know it's a text, text conversations. But put in climate change on the Reddit. Stephanie showed me there last night, just a quick example. Put in climate change on Reddit, and like, there's fucking just global warming. Put in global warming or climate change. And there's one group there, she just pointed out, has 30 million followers, like, or members, like. There was 2,000 online last night when she showed me at fucking 2:30 in the morning after I'd signed off with you. You know what I mean? And that's just one under global warming. So then you put in, you can refine it. So there's loads of groups out there having conversations. They're doing them via text, yes. But what you need to do then is define your category, like a quick advertisement, and like join these conversations, even if it is by text on Reddit. get in there, get into the conversations that are the ones that matter to us, and then define, put your little, put in your advert for the Chizzy or whatever it is, for the category, and doing it in such a way that you're not trying to draw people to you or to any mad or great idea that you have or something that's going to be personalized to you or owned by, like, do the advert in such a way that it's completely and utterly straight on the table. It's, completely decentralized. It's anyone can take up the offer, do it themselves. You're not offering to do it for them or anything else, like you said there, like earlier on. Need to get all that in. But it's the idea that you want to put out there for all of these people who are involved in these conversations. And also then you're actually contacting the type of people you want to, you're getting the audience you want to, rather than putting the podcast out in the airwaves and hoping to draw people, because as earlier Lena was saying, you don't know who you draw sometimes to a party of, if it's open house kind of thing. Like, so you don't know what will happen. And we've had experience with that before. So you're getting a selective audience is what I'm saying, by going to the actual conversations on Reddit or wherever else, the other platforms. We know there's plenty of groups around there that have meetings on Zoom as well. But let's define the category, get it down to a really 3 to 5 minute pitch, and then let's go do a bit of that's when you do a bit of homework as to what groups are out there, and get in there then and whatever conversations they're having, whether that's via text or whether they're having Zoom meetings, whatever, and pitch the idea and leave it open to it. You know what I mean? But the idea has to be pitched in such a way that it gives them the idea that there's, not only what it is, what in general, but what it can actually achieve in total in the future. If everybody should get on it. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of hiccups there now, so I pass on the better.
Okay, first of all, I really appreciate your feedback, James, and let's also talk about this, just one-on-one, just to create a more comfortable space to going deeper on that. The categories I'd like to address, since you asked, it's a great question. There's actually 3 categories I see us developing. One is the category of the conversation, right? And by this, what I really mean is the sufficiently public conversation, right? That people can actually join. They may have to type in a request, whatever, wait in a waiting room, fine. But, they can join. And then the next 2 categories, and that's really the root category. That's the root of the tree, is the conversation. The next 2 categories I'd like for us to co-create along with anyone and everyone else, and it's going to be one of those simultaneous co-creations. Like, Chizzy is going to be emergent across myriad different cultures, communities, groups, tribes, you name it. Chizzy emergent, right?
Chizzy is, you're talking about creating a space for emergent, diverse cultures, but yet Chizzy is an African name. There's an African princess named
I
Princess
love
Chizzy.
it. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're definitely going to follow up on that.
Just so you know, I was looking
No,
it up just now, but it also, in certain cultures, Chizzy means aggressive and angry. So you have to be careful with using Chizzy because it's actually different amongst different cultures and means
yeah,
different.
yeah.
Sorry
Well,
to.
so much the better. That's great news about the African princess. We're definitely going to have to research that carefully. So let's
Yeah.
follow up on that while we follow up on the other. And so, like I was saying, the 2 other main categories. So one is a superset of the root, which is conversation, and another is a subset, right, of conversations. Isn't that cool? The superset of conversations is Chizzy. What do you call a whole network of conversations that's hyper-connected? Woof, woof. That's right, Gretel. Chizzy, right? So Chizzy is the superset of all sufficiently public conversations, right? what's the subset? Anyone want to take a guess? Hint, hint. We've been talking about it a lot today. Anyone want to take a guess? The subset of all conversations are the after party conversations. We thanks, James. That was a tie. That's the subset that we're really focused on creating a whole bunch of, starting with Paul Beckwith. So a whole bunch of after parties constitute a whole bunch of very engaged and engaging myriad conversations each, really, because a party is like in a big house, but there's stuff going on in a whole bunch of rooms all around the house, you know? So, no, really, it's party gone wild. And, you know, and basically within reason, right? And we'll talk about what we mean by that.
If you're
You know,
promoting your party
what,
space to younger people, just remember that when you say do you know what like Girls Gone Wild was? Right? Like
yeah, I do.
when you say when you say Climate Geeks Gone Wild. So in other words, you guys are gonna show your boobs. Is that at the party? Is that the intention? Just like
That's
sorry.
absolute.
That's part of the I just love like Climate Geeks Gone Wild, but that just came, I'm like, oh no, can you define what gone wild means? Because you keep saying that and I'm literally like, I crack up laughing and I'm like, oh no, we need to define what that means. Because if we're just creating what does and I do want to hear this from you, Jamin. What does Climate Geeks Gone Wild? What does that mean? What is this
Yeah.
movement
Here's
that's
what
about
it
to
is.
start? It's like mind blowing.
Okay. Do you want me to answer now?
I don't know if I honestly don't know, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when I say climate geeks gone wild, what I mean is people with the depth and level and passion of interest in climate as like the four geeks you see in this room right now, right? Woof, woof, I'm a geek too, says Gretel. Oh, is that right, Gretel? Okay, so 5 climate geeks.
So you mean Gone Wild with information and Gone Wild in the sphere of knowledge and information, how it's infinite through the conversation, infinite, like beads of knowledge are being spread, and that's the information is flying wild, kind of.
Yeah, the information is flying wild, but also don't forget the passion. We're not just super geeks about information. We're very passionate. We love Mother Earth. We love all species, except for maybe tapeworms and stuff. But you know,
oh my God, they're the worst. Yes.
Okay, so anyway, but you know, barring tapeworms and stuff, we love all species, all ecosystems, and you know, bring it. And so that's the Paul Beckwith community that I'm aware of, right? And there's going to be lots of other great communities that you know congregate around a leader, either an intentional leader or more of a leader by default, which is how I see Paul. I don't think he's out there trying to lead the masses. He's out there doing his job as a scientist and an educator, right? And he's doing a great job. So more power to him, right?
Beautiful. I just feel like the symbolism. So as a millennial on the cusp, the symbolism is a little myth could be, but I mean, I get it within the communities. It'll make sense. I'm just like, I'm just
All
like,
right.
climate geeks gone wild. I'm gonna ask a few people what initially comes to their mind when they hear
Well,
that.
what initially comes to mind is, a bunch of 40 and 50 something year olds pulling up their shirts and showing their overweight bellies and just
That's kind of
disgusting chests with, hair and
that's what I mean.
other
That's what people will initially
ecosystem elements, burrowing in
oh,
there,
instead of using whiteboards, you guys should just write the information on your bellies, right? Climate geeks gone wild.
That
You
you know
write
what, we could do
oh,
we could do a pretty cool video with that.
or
I
Marco's
wouldn't
head.
recommend
Marco's
eating
head.
like a full meal before the watch
And
party.
Marco's write the info on Marco's head on your belly. Like you can, yeah, right. And in like removable markers. So you're ultimately sticky notes, right? You become, or you can make costumes and you guys are sticky notes. You're the whiteboards. Oh, climate geeks gone wild.
This is
Become-
just
You become the whiteboards, you become and people are reading the information. Bam! I am stealing that, Jamin. I am making that happen. I'm joking.
this is
I'm gonna-
reminiscent of a Airbnb in Marine City, only with a more permanent form of marking up our bodies.
I don't want to know. I do not want to know. Anyway, I'm muting. That was just. I solved the problems. All of the world's problems will be solved and they will be written on Marco's forehead. Bam. I'm muting. That's what needs to happen, Jamin. Your dog is so extremely still right now. Hi. Hi. Are you real? You're wearing a
Let
little piece. Your dog's
let
just
Jamin speak. Let Jamin speak. What was that, Gretel? Let Jamin speak. Let Jamin. Oh, well, apparently she wants to hear me speak. So, well, I can't say no to this princess. Okay.
Oh my.
I mean, here's the thing. One of the things I wanted to say with respect to James's comment, I'm not actually trying to create a great podcast or a great Afterglow or a great anything. I'm personally, and maybe that's a shortcoming I need to overcome, and maybe it's easily rectifiable. But my main focus is that we get Chizzy exponentiating, and for me the obvious next milestone is Paul Beckwith and the Paul Beckwith community. And I use that as a placeholder in case for whatever reason he doesn't want to do it. All right, well, we find someone who does, because we're kind of dependent upon them putting out the invitation, right? Rather than having the unofficial Paul Beckwith after party, which, if he never wants to do it, I'm just thinking hypothetically, because we need to, we need to be ready for these questions from other, leaders, publishers, whatever, is if they don't want to do it, would they have an objection to someone else doing it, but associated with their content? And if so, do they have anything to say about that? Right? Whatever. Anyway, we're getting off into the finer points, because the low hanging fruit are the publishers who basically say, yes, this sounds super cool. I can commit to being there for the first hour, but then I've got family commitments or whatever. But, count me in for the first hour. I don't need to be at the watch party because I generated the content. But as soon as the after party starts, I'll be there for the first hour. Okay, Marco? Marco says, okay. And, we're off to the races. Simple as that. Marco, maybe you should just get some sleep, bro. Alan says
I
don't
think
panic.
so. I don't think I can
Yeah.
do it this. Oh.
But anyway, so I'm just really laser focused on us hitting the next milestone of having a Paul Beckwith, not if not the Paul Beckwith, a Paul Beckwith who we can launch with, right? We need a launch partner, right? We're ready to give it everything we've got and, make it one heck of an after party. All we ask that you do is that you mention it and put the link in the appropriate places and tweet it out. We'll tell you exactly what to say, what to put in the YouTube video. We'll even help you make the YouTube infomercial that you can publish on your channel, right, to your audience, inviting them to come. Inviting them to come. How cool is all that, right? Passing the feather.
Yeah, well, I suppose we'll just have to wait and see if we get a reply from him anyway, in the meantime. But Jim and I gonna have to log out by because child's waking up again down and
Oh yeah. No, you go ahead. Take care of your family duties, and thank you again for the feedback, James. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no bothers, man. Mark, I'll talk to you soon. And you too, Alan. Good to see you, man. Sorry, no.
All right. Have a great night, James. God bless. See you soon.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. I'll talk to you during the week. Yeah.
All right.
Good luck.
Okay. Look forward to it. Thanks, James. Have a good night. Marco, did you feel I was like repeating myself and stuff? Or Alan?
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about it off air.
Okay. Here, I'll pause recording.